Hi there, I'm Steph, and today we're going to be looking at my experiences with Twitch streaming popular mobile rhythm game, Rhythm Hive. I want to look back on the challenges I faced, as well as consider how my relationship with the game may have changed. Rhythm Hive is a dime a dozen game. However, it stands out to me because it's one of the very few, and only free games, that allow me to experience songs from my favourite artists as part of the game. Another game I did play to break up the monotony was Superstar ATs, but to access it I had to make a Korean Apple Store account and couldn't play the game for long periods of time due to update difficulties. Early on, I decided that I wanted to look at rhythm games, specifically mobile rhythm games. This was in part because I wanted to combine this project with my DA for BCM 215, which was centered around gaming. Originally, I'd planned to play and stream different games every few weeks, as well as work on making YouTube content surrounding this gameplay. Quite quickly, I found my plan changing, due to a combination of increased work commitments and the fact that it took me much longer than expected to actually set up my stream to a level I felt comfortable with. As mentioned in my project beta, I put a lot of process on creating a somewhat perfect facade for my public persona. The general K-pop fandom is very focused on aesthetic appeal, as you'll see by the screenshots of my own and some of my friends' personal stan Twitter accounts. In my stream, I wanted to create an authentic persona, but I wanted the stream itself to be polished, so as to not alienate an audience I knew was very focused on appearance. I knew I'd already have struggles with the audio and the stream glitching at times, so I wanted the rest of the setup to be polished. One key aspect of this persona can thus be seen to be performativity, or what more Barbour and Lee consider to be real versus fake. I balance the real me, the person who has a lot of experience with mobile games, but also struggles with motivation to actually play the games at times, with the appearance of someone who looked forward to streaming. I wanted to be seen as authentic, someone who only focuses on one of the three in-game groups, and who struggles with the harder elements of gameplay. An interesting question was raised in some of my blog feedback. Does the need for perfection from the very beginning of streaming affect my gameplay experience? And further, am I willing to be bad at a game in a public space? To contextualize my answer, I want to say that even before setting up my streaming persona, I had some experience with sharing content within the K-pop community. This in particular shaped my attitudes when it came to making game-related content. When Superstar ATs was published, I had planned to share snippets of my own gameplay. I wanted to show my learning curve when it came to playing the game, and how I went from failing at difficult songs Wonderland and Pirate King to getting decent scores. So in this regard, I'm happy to share my failures as motivational points of reference. I'm always looking to improve my own skills. At the same time, I did make the conscious choice to stream games I'd already played, in the genre I have years of experience with. I think I would struggle with streaming a game I'm completely new at because I'd feel like more experienced players would judge me, whereas within the Rhythm Hive community, I count as one of those more experienced players. I faced quite a few struggles with this project. One was with the fundamental nature of my niche, as it's based around a highly specific micropublic, one that has a very small online presence, especially within the English-speaking Twitter community. While I did look at other areas like Discord and Reddit, I found myself mostly comfortable on Twitter. Because of this, I decided to center my project around my own experience with streaming and the game as a whole, rather than focusing too much on the experience of others within the same niche, although I do use them as points of reference. It was recommended for me to search for an active community outside of my niche. However, I only received this feedback quite recently and was unable to do so. I do have conflicted feelings about what may have happened if I had done this. In my research, I mainly looked at the Rhythm Hive hashtag, something that surpassed language barriers, as the game itself is made by a Korean company, and the popular tweets are in many different languages. At the same time, there may have been smaller communities on platforms like Discord, Facebook, or Reddit that I overlooked due to these language barriers. One personal struggle I faced during the project was motivation. As stated, I had originally planned on playing a wider range of games. One of the reasons for that decision was because I know myself, and know that I tend to get over solely playing one game for months at a time. I thought that having the option of playing Superstar ATs as a backup that exists within a very similar niche would help me overcome this. However, in the middle of this, TXT, the group I mainly play with, didn't have any pop-up events or timed quests. These are the main things that actually motivate me to spend time farming for rewards within the game, as they offer limited time content. At the same time, I wasn't able to access Superstar ATs for almost the entire month of my subscription. Now I want to take a deeper look into my own mindset while streaming. As mentioned, I felt pressured by both my own niche and my attitudes to have a perfect setup. This meant that I was slow to start streaming. It also made me notice something about my relationship with the game. While in the past, I would play whenever I felt like it. Once I had the ability to stream, initially I only wanted to play the game while streaming. I would feel guilty for playing the game, especially for extended periods of time, if I wasn't able to record the experience. However, when looking back, I realized that I tend to struggle with similar feelings even before I was streaming. When the game first came out, I would play it for pleasure, but more often, later on, I would play it to put off uni work. I came to associate the game itself with being an act of procrastination, or something I should feel bad for, rather than something I could enjoy. The only time I don't experience this feeling is when I'm playing the game while traveling. I think this is something fundamental about my own experience with gaming and leisure activities as a whole, and it would be an interesting topic to look further into if I had the chance.